this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no
a
one.
second.
Oh, no.
We return to our planet. The High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings, and welcome to another episode of SeptumSin versus the World. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobukijake.
Hey.
And we're here to show you what we got.
Cookies from Trader Joe's. These are good.
So I've got a lot of cool stuff, and Jake just picked up some cool stuff. So I'm actually going to have Jake lead off because I have a very big finisher.
Okay. Well, I have a physically large one, but so yeah, like he said, we were going to do 5, and now I think we've
expanded.
We've expanded dramatically. So I'm going to start. I just picked up a manga. I don't know why. I don't know the story here, but apparently he had an extra copy of Skip Beat Volume 44, which I don't know. I'd have to go and look. I think I have maybe 2 or 3 volumes of this series. Obviously, far fewer than 44. But I have read most of the series thus far. And I really enjoy it, and I really want to finish it. I wish that Nakamura-sensei would finish the series.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to do that with several series that I'm reading right now. But it's a really good one. We, of course, check out our Skip Beat video where we helped finance the American release of the anime. But unfortunately, the anime stops very early in the story. They really need a second season. But good times. Okay. Maybe one day I'll finish this series in my collection.
I'm 2 books behind. I need to get the 46 and 47. It's the only manga I still collect on a regular.
It sounds like an irregular, but you know.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, I still haven't read 40.
That's not part of their birthday sale, is it?
What? Oh no, that's
incidentally, Right Stuff's birthday sale just started. So
that's an Amazon. That was an Amazon. But Amazon's birthday sale has started. You said that. Well, we'll talk about the other sale there. Actually, are the Criterion on yet?
Not yet.
I'm hoping they'll be on by Friday when I get paid.
Well, I asked specifically at Barnes & Noble. They said that they don't know yet when the Criterion sale will start. Criterion itself, the sale starts in July. Yeah. You can order direct from them.
Which I might do.
But Barnes & Noble has been dragging their feet the last couple of years. And she said that it may be as late as August before they start.
I might order directly from Criterion because I have no reason to order from Barnes & Noble. I stopped getting their card because they stopped allowing you to do the 10% extra for movies.
I didn't know my card was still active. I actually got to use it today.
That was the thing is that I used to use it for movies, but they wouldn't allow you to stack it with movies anymore.
But this isn't really a pickup, but got a couple of Cards Against Humanity expansion packs. I got to use my card for those.
So, there was no use for me. I don't get much from there that's not. Yeah. And if I get something that's not, it's so rare.
Well, yeah. I mean, I picked those up because I was there,
But I did pick up something from Disney Movie Club. I went ahead and ordered Doctor Strange, but it's not out yet, so of course they haven't sent it to me yet. But they did send me everything else in my order, which is going to be most of what we've got.
Is that this month's selection?
Yes.
I need to look at that.
They paired it with the original in 4K, so, that's there. But I went ahead and I upgraded my Rescuers collection because My Rescuers, this Down Under the disc is scratched to heck. It still plays, but it's still scratched to heck. And then the original Rescuers, the case is beaten to heck. So I don't know who had something against it, but I do like these. I mean, this was $10 after the reduction.
Oh yeah.
And a Blu-ray upgrade for this series is well worth that. I know you grew up more with Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah.
I grew up more with the first one, so it's still kind of cool. I had like the Disney Child book with the woman with the alligators doing the water skiing with the alligators. So I look forward to watching this again and revisiting it. It's pretty cool, and I can put it right on the shelf after I entered into the collection, which is pretty darned awesome, if I say so myself.
Indeed. And The Rescuers Down Under is a rarity among Disney. It was one of their first theatrical sequels, and really one of the few theatrical sequels they've done.
Yeah.
And they did a good job with it. I mean, I loved it when I was a kid.
I guess I should say what this is about for people, because there are probably people out there who this is so old for them, they probably never even heard of it. Essentially, you've got this UN of mice, and their job is to help out. And the first one is about them helping out this little girl who got kidnapped. The second one has to do with these poachers in Australia.
Well, there's one poacher and his monster lizard, yeah.
And it's Bob Newhart with Zsa Zsa Gabor, voice-wise, which is an interesting pairing.
Well, and Down Under, of course, features John Candy. And
John Candy is the bird, isn't it?
Yeah, the seagull or
Who played the
albatross.
seagull in the first one?
Well,
Maybe he was in the first one.
I don't think he was he in the first one?
Because the seagull was in the first one.
Oh, okay.
So, I guess he was in both, I would guess. Well, I don't have my phone because I'm using it to record.
I don't think John Candy was in the first one.
Well, I can look it up while he's doing his thing.
Right.
But good films, pretty solid Disney films.
Yeah, I did that a while back with one of my purchases. A couple of Disney films that I never really got into. Like, Disney kind of went into... they hit the skids, if you will, around the late 90s. But it depends on who you talk to. For me, they had like a grand slam run of, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King. And then they did Pocahontas, which, let's be honest, is problematic in many ways. Although it does have the best theme song ever from a Disney film, Colors of the Wind. And then they did several films that I just never got around to watching. Because I think I saw Hunchback of Notre Dame once, and I just never got around to Hercules or Tarzan or Treasure Planet or any of those. And one that I did kind of half watch once in college was... one that actually, from what I understand, they had a movie that hit the skids, and they had already contracted Sting to do the music, and so they created a film around the music, and that turned out to be The Emperor's New Groove, starring David Spade and John Goodman. And it was so popular, they did a sequel, Cronks New Groove, which I think Kronk was the Goodman character, wasn't it?
Yep.
And so again, I've sort of seen the first movie, never saw the second one, never really had much desire to, but who am I to say no to free Disney films? And now, granted, I probably will eventually upgrade to a different edition of this, because this takes up a lot of space on the shelf, but good to have them. And I will finally watch them one of these days. Oh, no. Kronk is Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, Kronk is Patrick Warburton.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
the John Goodman is the...
Pacha.
Yeah.
You've also got Eartha Kitt in there. That's a pretty interesting cast.
Oh, that's fun.
And like I said, music by Sting. So, you can only go but so bad with that. And, I'm glad to finally have him.
Actually, Kronk was a character that Patrick Warburton got well known for when he did.
Ah.
I mean, he was pretty good, famous for some of his voice work anyway, but that particular one got him a lot of recognition.
Well, that would have been around the time of the first run of Family Guy, wasn't it?
So yeah, since you did 2, you had 7 if you count those 2 as 1, right?
No, I had 7.
Let's see, 1, 2,
So those
3,
2
4,
made
5,
2
6,
more.
7, 8. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got 9 in total. Wait.
Yeah,
1, 2,
it should be
3,
9
4,
total.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I got 9 left. Okay, good. All right.
Okay.
So, I got this and I upgraded to the Emperor's New Groove and Cronks New Groove. Now, the Emperor's New Groove is about this dick of an emperor, which actually works very well considering David Spade plays the voice actor. And the sorceress that he has decides she's going to stage a coup with her and Patrick Warburton's character, Kronk, as the assistant for her, and ended up turning him into a llama. Well, of course, John Goodman's character is the only one who's kind of helping him out and it teaches him a little bit of humility. The second one, you know what? I don't even remember what the second one was about. I mean, I know Kronk had these scouts or something that were following, and then they had a show called The Emperor's New School.
Oh yeah,
that also came out. So it was kind of a fun. It was kind of fun. Not the best, but certainly not the worst, and definitely not bad having them both on one small thing for $10.
Yeah, like I said, I'll probably eventually upgrade to that. Just, better visual quality, less space on the shelf. Yeah. All right, so next up, I'm going to do a quick plug, since this, I think, will air on Wednesday, if I remember. Yeah. So, this will be airing the night before. We call submissions for our Versus Awards for 2021. And we've had some rumblings from some of our members, but so far, a lot of slackers out there.
Get on the Facebook page and get involved. The link is down below. You might have to scroll a bit. Because there's 33 categories. You give a list. You start with 6 and go to 1, but we will count basically the top is the highest ranking in points and the lowest one is the lowest ranking in points. So basically, let's just take an example: best low budget feature. So let's say I thought that Amityville Karen was the best film of 2021. I would be wrong because it's a 2022 film, but let's say I did. I would put that as 6. I would give it 6 points towards making the final nomination list.
And I would immediately write back saying, that's a 2022 film, pick another one.
Yes. Then, of course, let's say you go down to 1. Let's say 1, okay, I'll pick one that's really the Craigline Incident, Part 3.
Okay.
No, Part 2.
Okay.
Because Part 1 and 2 are both 2021.
Okay.
So let's say we'd have that one as 1. It would get 1 point. At the end of the day, he's going to add up all the points for each of the films, and then the ones with the highest points, top 6 for each category, except for Best Picture, which has 12, will be the ones that will get the final nominations to carry over to the voting starting in July.
And it is important to remember that if you want your top submission to have 6 points, you will need to fill the category. If you only submit 1, that one gets 1 point. So that's the way we decided to do it. That way people can participate even when they're not comfortable filling the entire category. But your vote
what if
will
they
have...
get 4? Is their top
the
rank
top
be
one
with
gets
4?
4 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they won't all just get 1 point each, though.
Right.
Okay.
Right. No, I mean, it starts from the bottom is how it works. So, again, if you are really confident in a category, you can really get your voice heard. If you're not so confident in the category, you're going to contribute. But but we would like everyone to do as much as they can. So, and a couple things, and then I'll continue on. I did post a listing. I've posted a listing that we've tried to keep current, which has been very difficult because I keep having to dig down into the list to find it, of feature films and a separate list of short films that are eligible contenders. And I also posted, I think it was 4 lists of the current nominees as have been submitted so far. Both of those are intended to give people a parameter or framework of these are some choices you can look at. And we still got a few days left, although, again, when this video airs, you might have time for 2 more movies. Or 10 short films if you really want to. There's some really good short films out there this year. But one film that was underrated and underseen, and a lot of people thought it should have gotten some Oscar love, it has gotten a little tiny bit of love so far from our Academy, and I'm hoping it gets more. Honestly, I really thought it was a pretty good film. Overrated, but a good film. That I just randomly snapped up because it was cheap on Amazon. Is the Nick Cage starring film Pig, which is widely rated as one of his best performances in years. It's definitely one of his most restrained performances in years. And it's basically about a backwoods chef who, I say backwoods because he lives in the backwoods, not because he is backwoods. He actually is a former star chef who grew disillusioned and moved out into the boonies where he lives with his beloved pet pig, who's a truffle sniffing pig. He does business with a gentleman who lives in the city, and some people come and steal his pig, and he wants it back. That's pretty much the plot in a nutshell. And it was said to be sort of a gourmand's version of John Wick, and I kept waiting for the whole film for it to become John Wick. And it, just so you know, it never really does fully go John Wick. I also kept waiting for Nick Cage to go full Nick Cage, and he doesn't. But it's a really good film, and if you go in it with different expectations than what I went into it with, I think you'll enjoy it. And I definitely would recommend it for anyone interested in filling out their Best Actor category.
Actually, if you really, really want to see Nick Cage as John Wick for a 2021 film, you should watch Willy's Wonderland. Which I nominated for Best Actor.
One I did not get to see. I wish I had.
So this was one that I think, I've got a couple of games. This is one of these I know you would probably pick up for the Switch if you had a Switch.
Right.
Which is the Capcom Fighting Collection.
Ooh.
And I will tell you why. I'm going to list you what games are on this. If I can get my eyes to focus on them. So you've got Darkstalkers, Night Warriors, Vampire Hunter 2, Vampire Savior, and Vampire Savior 2, which are all the Darkstalkers-esque games. I know Felicia's one of your mains, but you also like a lot of the other...
Well, isn't Morgan from that?
Yeah.
Morgan's definitely one of my favorites.
I mean, you know, so most of the Monster Girls that you like are in those. Then you've got Street Fighter 2, the Anniversary Edition, which... Nice. You know, I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Then you've got Red Earth, which is kind of like a fantasy-style fighter that you don't really see.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Gem Fighter. I love Gem Fighter. It's hilarious. You got the chibi versions of them fighting each other, and it's basically been unavailable unless you have a PS3 or lower system for
Wait
a
a
while.
minute. No, I know that one, I think.
Yeah, I think because we probably played a few rounds.
Yeah. That was,
It's fun.
I think I actually played that with my brothers.
And
It's like the Street Fighter characters, but chibi form.
Yes.
Yes.
and it also introduced me to the Ninja Girl. Because I didn't have the system to
Ibuki?
play. Yeah, Ibuki. I didn't have the chance
Yeah.
to play Street Fighter 3 at the time because the only system was on I didn't have.
Hmm.
And she basically she's a good example because her motivation is to get ice cream. And then you've got Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. So you got one puzzle game in there. And then you've got Cyberbots, which I'm not familiar with. So if you like some really good Capcom fighting games that haven't seen a lot of love, this has a lot of them on there for you.
Nice.
And they've been, remastered, and it's just kind of cool. So I look forward to breaking this out and doing some fighting game action in the future. That's going to be fun.
Cool. But yeah, the big barrier to entry for me there is not having a Switch and not really caring about it.
But yeah, but if you had a Switch,
Right.
or let's say this was cheap on the PC sale and you knew your computer could run it, come on, you'd want this.
I never really figured out fighting games on a PC, but that is something I need to figure out.
Just plug in like an Xbox controller or something. and it
Yeah, you
works.
would need to do that. Probably.
There's some pretty good ones on there. And you just make sure that they have controller support,
Right.
and you're good to go
Right.
if your computer can run it. But
Right.
games this age, you could run.
Oh, yeah. I think so. All right. Now, get back to the category of 2021 films versus award contenders. One that I can guarantee you is going to be a contender in multiple categories. There's no question about that. And actually, I personally do rank this as my favorite film of the year so far, is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Ah,
Excellent film.
that'll be a big contender.
That is a big contender. A rare 4K pickup for me. Honestly, I would have loved to have a fancy steelbook or something like that, but yeah, whatever. But this is a really good one. I've actually already watched this copy. I actually watched it with the family, and so, when they have time to place their votes, they have no excuse for not including Spider-Man in the mix. But excellent film. For those who are unfamiliar with it, obviously you're not a Marvel fan.
Yeah.
But if you are, essentially, it's Spider-Man was unmasked at the end of Far From Home, and our Alex Jones-esque version of J. Jonah Jameson has done his best to make Spidey's life a living hell, and he is succeeding.
I think he's good at it.
But more so, he is making life a living hell for everyone around Peter Parker. So Peter goes to Doctor Strange and says, "Can you please help me?" And screws up the process. And they end up drawing a whole bunch of multiversal characters into one dimension. And naturally, that doesn't go so well. That's pretty much the basic gist of it. This is well known for the wealth of cameos and the way that it brought both previous Spider universes into the MCU, as well as the Netflix universe. There's actually a tie-in there to the Netflix Marvel shows.
Yeah.
And it's just good times all around. It's a really, really, really good movie. I really enjoyed it.
I like that one better than Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, yeah.
Which has a similar premise in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, well, at least as far as multiverse, except going to them instead of...
Although, of course, Multiverse of Madness brought back our original Spidey director, Sam Raimi, and officially introduced him in the MCU. And that was kind of cool.
So, this is one that I had been debating on for a while because I heard they screwed it up. I heard that they fixed it a bit, but I was not going to pay $70 for 3 old games. Some people are like, what are you talking about? They're worth that on on their own. I'm like, maybe back when they came out. But it's been a while. So, I I admit, I was kind of against Grand Theft Auto originally. I was back in that time period of, well, it's training people to side more with criminals than, police. I have a different view on that now. But I got my start on it in the 5th game. But, and I've got the 4th game sitting on my Xbox. But I also thought about these. I had a lot of friends who were into these, which is the collection, which is 3, Vice City and San Andreas. I've heard they're good. They get a little bit of a new coat of paint, a little bit better quality of life. I've heard they have improved it a bit. This one finally went down to like 25 at GameStop pre-owned. And since they all come on the disc, I like that preservation aspect of it as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I think it's good to have them. They are classics. Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of raving about all of these games. I've heard 3 is the one that holds up the least. But, you played a little bit of Grand Theft Auto. And
well, my experience with that series is primarily his wife insisting I play the game and then yelling at me for doing it wrong. Which, I'm sorry, I was amused by the concept of just randomly walking up to someone, punching them out, and taking their bike. It was like, screw all these automobiles, I'm going to steal a bike.
Well, yeah, you were doing better with the bike. But I enjoyed those things, and I've heard the 6th one is coming out. I don't like the multiplayer stuff, but I am curious about some of the single player. I think I will start going back to some of the originals and seeing how they go eventually. I loved Bully, which still to this day one of my favorite games. So hey,
cool. All right, so next up, we're going to jump into a little bit of we're going to revisit a film from a revisit theme that we did on Movies Galore. At the start of last year, I think it was, Dave wanted to do a hate watching month, and we talked him into making it more of a second chances month. And so we ended up watching some movies where every person but Dave preferred the film their second time around over the first time. I didn't care for Moe's, honestly, but he liked it better the second time around, so that was good, I guess. But Dave was apparently the only one that did not like his selection. And so partly because of that, because it amused me, Barnes & Noble, as we alluded to earlier, Barnes & Noble is doing an Aero sale right now. They have started carrying a decent number of Aero Films releases, and that's pretty cool. I like that. And they're doing a 50% off Aero sale, which is equivalent to a Criterion sale. So I was like, the hell with it. I'm going to get a couple. And so I picked up Dave's selection from that month, The Cat o' Nine Tails.
Oh, yes.
Which is also notable because this may be my first Dario Argento film, I think. But, I mean, look at that. It comes with a pretty decent array of special features. I'm not sure you can see that, but I hope you can. But, not a bad edition, actually. And it was one of the cheaper ones they had. It's still not cheap. On Blu-ray, it was like $18. But still, you could do a lot worse for a special edition Blu-ray. And like I said, I've got an Argento film in my collection now. And it just amused me to get this because Dave disliked it so much.
It's weird. I must have forgotten that's one of the ones I do not have. But I'm going to have to pick that up. Maybe I'll go out on my birthday and pick that up.
I think that was the only copy of that one, but that doesn't mean they won't restock. And they did have another Argento one, which I have not seen yet. I think it's called The Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
Yeah, I've got the majority of what we've covered on Inside Movies Galore. Mm-hmm. My list is down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6.
Damn, that's not bad.
And I've got one...
That you still need to get?
Yeah, they still need to get. Three of them are on the way. One of them is back ordered, and so really I just would need out of the ones there, I need Romeo and Juliet to finally ship, and I need Darkness, the vampire version, to come out with the Aero release I've heard they're coming out with, and Cat of Nine Tails. So yeah. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and I'll hit one of the ones that we did. So this is one of the ones that we have done. I've been trying to catch up to get every film that they've covered on this on Dave's show. That includes the Delusions of Grandeur ones that we've covered as a group, because I count those essentially as the Inside Movies Galore ones. And one of the ones that covered, that was one of Katie's choices that I did not get to see, was Turbo Kid. And this is much cheaper than getting it on DVD for like $100. This was the European release. I want to say this is the Spanish one. But of course it has English audio. So this is a legit release. It goes in my my region free player.
Right. Well, I mean, it's an Aero release, right?
No, it's not an Aero release. It's just a regular.
What's that? Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I was looking at those arrows there.
Different thing. It's it's a Blu-ray release of this film. I don't know much about it, and this is in Spanish, but takes place in the far-off year of 1997.
The best film of the decade. Is it?
So,
I wonder.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people really liked it. And I've heard it was a fun romp, and I'll be able to watch it. I mean, I don't need Spanish subtitles to understand the English, so I'll be good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, a little bit.
It might help you if you have trouble hearing it.
Maybe. But, you know, it's kind of cool. I like the cover there.
Yeah.
You can't even tell it's a Spanish one from here, really.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
And
although if it was Katie's
on
selection.
The back is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's closer to the Knight Riders era and further away from the Sallow era. Of picks.
Knight Riders was fun, and I would be. It wasn't one I would jump to get, but so my next one's interesting because I just presented this movie, just presented it, and I bought it on a whim because I was offered it, and I was like, "This is an upgrade. I need to do it." But then I didn't realize Aero had released it, and Aero released an awesome edition, so I had to do it. So once again, I'll be presenting the 1998 film by John McNaughton, Wild Things.
Oh, God. Really?
But look at that. That is such a nice edition.
That's a much nicer edition than that deserves. Right?
That is I don't know. I love it. This is a very, very nice edition. It's got a booklet. It's got art cards. It's got tons of special features. It does have both the original and uncut releases of the film. I already covered on my previous pickup but again, I saw this, I was like, I gotta do it. So now I have an extra copy that'll need a home.
Well, I actually do not have the film, so if we ever cover it, I would definitely
we gotta cover it one of these days.
So. Provided it doesn't sell for a ton. If it does, just sell it.
Right.
So speaking of stuff that sells for a ton, I went ahead and on the Disney movie sale, or Disney Movie Club, take advantage of that 50% off, and finally got the Best Picture winner of 2020. Was that right? For the year 2020, Nomadland. Which Chloe Zhao. It was a fairly interesting film. I'm not sure it was Best Picture.
Yes, 2020.
But, it was alright.
It was a solid film. but
I
a
don't
little overrated.
I don't think that Frances McDormand was the best actress of the year. I don't think that was I do not feel like that was the best performance of the year. I felt like it was subdued. It was okay, but there were a lot of better performances. Mm-hmm. But still a decent enough film. Worth the $9 I paid for it. So I'm good with that. Essentially, it's about these people, and it's a really interesting subject. It's about these people who are nomads. They live out of these vans, and they do work. They kind of migrate around. They are nomads. They migrate around. They get to work. They live in their vans, and they live a pretty free life. It's a pretty cool concept, and it will be interesting to watch again.
Okay.
I'm glad that it came out with a Blu-ray, though. That was
Right.
Good.
Although I got that too, and also I picked it up like dirt cheap as part of a purchase.
Yeah.
But I really am waiting for either an Aero or Criterion release of the film that would be like really more befitting its stature. But you know, whatever. In the meantime, I'm surprised Disney is releasing it. But so my next up bears it ties together a couple of my previous ones. It's a special edition that I bought kind of on a whim, and I've got a little bit of wariness about having done this because it locks me into a series that I had thus far largely avoided. That will has something to do with the Versus Awards, because this year saw the release in Japan and on Netflix of the two movies that are part of the Sailor Moon Crystal franchise. Sailor Moon Eternal Parts 1 and 2, which they decided, you said it was Super S, that they decided to turn into the movies instead of a full season. Crystal, I have mixed feelings about. I started watching the first season.
It improves.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But the first season, really, they could have done better.
Yeah.
They should have done better. And I've held off buying the series partly because of that, and partly because I have the original series and all the really nice, fancy deluxe editions, and I would have loved to carry that through with Crystal. I just didn't want to pay out the nose to do that.
Yeah.
But I got what I felt was a good deal, and I went for it, which may lock me into, if I were you, it would have locked me into paying out the nose for this, but I'm not that OCD. But still, I got set 2 of Crystal,
that would
the
bug
limited
me.
edition.
That would bug me about
Nice deluxe edition there. Now this one though, come to think of it,
they're pretty editions, though.
I was thinking that it was going to be like the others where you ended up needing 2 parts, but I guess that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
the whole thing in there.
Okay, well that's
season.
good. So this is season 2 basically. And they're really nice looking sets. They're really nice looking. It's just,
If you want to see what the others are.
yeah, he's got their set 1,
the only
set
thing
2,
not released
and then set
are
3.
The films.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they aren't going to do separate releases for the parts. I'm hoping that they will just release them as one set.
This one is slightly dinged up, so that might have been why it was so cheap, but it's not too bad. But still, like I said, it's pretty cool. And, that does make me happy to know that you don't have to buy a whole separate second part like with the others.
And that one is actually significantly better quality-wise than the first season is.
And this one was roughly equivalent to...
That's the R? Yeah, it's
Okay.
R.
So the first one was basically the first series.
Yeah.
The second was basically R.
Then S, and then
Yeah.
Super S is the movies.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're doing... I've heard that they're doing a new Sailor Moon series in the future, but who knows?
Cool. But anyway, there we go.
And they are re-releasing. I've heard actually that the new re-releases of Sailor Moon are at a better quality than the previous releases that we have here.
So how many of you got left there?
I have 4.
I think you are one ahead of me.
Well, I can do 2 in a row.
Or wait, no, I only have 2 left. but I went first. Yeah.
So yeah, so I'll do this, and that way I'll have me 2 left after.
Okay.
So we'll do 2
Okay.
then. So a 2021 movie, so a versus award contender for animated feature, Ron's Gone Wrong. Also on my Disney order. I really did like this film. I liked it enough that I really did enjoy Zach Galifianakis, I think is his, the voice that he did for Ron. I thought it was great.
Cool.
It's about this society, and it really does kind of, it's them poking fun at our society with phones and stuff. And everybody has to have these little like robots. And they're essentially iPhones. They know everything. They play stuff. Except this one, and this guy, their main character, he cannot afford one because his family's poor. Well, so one of them accidentally falls off the truck and gets damaged. And somebody in the back alley does sell the one to his father so he can have it, because, he's the only kid in school that doesn't have one of these. And so, and Ron's kind of defective. But also, you find out a little bit more that Ron is able to think a little bit more on his own. And tries to become, again, they're all like supposed to be your best friend. So Ron's goal is to be his best friend. And it's a fun and cute little film. It's not the best animated feature of the year by far, but it is a fun animated feature and well worth a viewing if you enjoy these types of Disney romps.
Good times.
It is really a fun one.
Almost sounds like someone combined any number of anime, including Deers, Chobits, and Handmaid May, with Mitchell's versus the Machines a little bit.
It's got some vibes in there.
Okay.
I'll do 2 in a row. So catch us up.
Go for it.
Okay, so one that could be a contender on my list for
2022's
low budget feature. I will like to think I watch enough low budget films to take this off the list, and that is Sean C. Phillips's first effort as a director, Amityville Karen. And
would you say his directorial career is still ahead of him?
Well, he's got a lot of films coming out this year.
Yeah.
Okay, Ron, if you're watching, buddy, you helped produce this. Shekel Demon Project is not the greatest film in the world, not by any means, but it is worlds better than this. The acting is terrible, the editing is horrifying, and the plot is boring. This isn't even bad enough to be good. This is so bad, it's bad. It will stay in my collection as a part of the Amityville collection, but it probably will never be watched again. Well, maybe on a Second Chances month, but I just don't know. This is a terrifyingly bad film. And it's about, of course, a Karen. So you got this young woman who has got a little Karen wig on. You can tell it's the wig because it keeps flopping almost off throughout. And, she's got to do her thing about, managers and all that bull that, Karens do. And then she gets possessed by an evil Amityville wine cellar and starts killing people. And that's the whole of it, really. And, I thought more of this. But considering who's involved in it, you should know better. You should know better, Cool Duder. You were better than this. At least I thought you were. So, and he's in it, and he does an okay job. He does his usual, but I prefer him in Craiglon Incident. So, yeah. Well, best wishes on the next one. Maybe it'll be better.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
it just occurred to me, it's actually quite fun that you just did such a discussion there, such a harsh little bring down to earth.
That's like nearly 2 hours I can't get back.
Because that is the MO of the MD in the next series I'm going to present. This is another upgrade for me. This was meant to be a space-saving upgrade. I actually had watched 2 seasons out of the 8 of this show. I had all 8, but I went ahead and bought the condensed, nice, shiny, new package. But a show that features a man who is every bit as supportive of others as he just was, is the show starring Hugh Laurie, House.
That is nice and condensed.
Yes, and it's a nice looking set. I do think this is a good set. Again, I've watched the first 2 seasons and I've seen bits and pieces of the rest of the show, and Laurie got tons of praise for this role, and he did deserve it. He did a very good job. This is a guy that I have seen play complete ludicrous off-puff
Jeeves and Wooster.
Yes. And he's going for gravitas here, and he pretty well nails it. There is some spurious facts scattered throughout the show, but one expects that of most serial television. But again, it's a nice set. It's a nice collection. It's going to take up less space on the shelf than what I had before, and it looks a little nicer than what I had before. And I really look forward to diving back into this, but who knows when that's going to happen,
Oh, my. Well, that's a slight step up when it comes to quality, probably.
Ever so slightly.
I have to add Amityville Karen to my 2022 list.
Oh, incidentally, for 2022, while he's doing that, I have already added Zach Galifianakis as a contender for vocal acting for 2022. He and Kevin Kline play the Fischoeder brothers in Bob's Burgers, and the Bob's Burgers movie was one I went to see over the weekend, and it's quite fun. Well worth a look.
Actually, you know what? This is already off the list. I have 7 low budgets for 2022.
Really?
I like them all better than that.
You watched 7 already?
Yep. Because I've got here... Oh, how was the Bob's Burgers movie? Was it good?
That was quite good. You didn't hear me say that?
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's quite good.
So, yeah, I've got Taking a COVID Test, Sharkula, let's see, Haymaker, Fleas 2, Home Remedies, Craiglon Incident Part 3.
You like Fleas 2 better? I thought
it performs better.
Okay.
Axe Grinder 4 and 5, and now Amityville Karen.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I think it's 8. So yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, you see a lot more than I have for this.
So
year.
that's there. I think that helps a lot.
What the hell are you doing, Blanche?
But I also have another one that's going to be a contender. She's trying to take a nail out of the wall.
Looks like it.
This is going to be a contender, a strong contender probably, if the other 2 films in the series were an indicator for Best Documentary Feature for 2022, and this is In Search of Tomorrow.
Ooh.
So for those of you familiar with In Search of Darkness 1 and 2, In Search of Darkness Part 2 did get an award from the Versus Awards, I believe, didn't they? It won Best Doc, I think.
I believe so.
And this one is about sci-fi. They are doing a 3rd In Search of Darkness, but that still hasn't been finished yet. But this one has. So this one actually covers all the sci-fi gamut. They're doing a first-person shooter doc.
So that's not a sequel. Okay.
It's a whole new series, I guess you could say. So this is going to have that same in-depth level coverage of 80s sci-fi, basically. And I look forward to this.
Yeah.
It's actually only 300 minutes. That's not too bad.
Holy.
Considering.
Well, yeah.
But, I mean, you've got some pretty cool stuff. You got the Winnebago from here. We got Winnebago from Spaceballs.
Nice.
We got, of course, our Back to the Future car.
Obviously.
The Mandalorian. The
Mandalorian.
the DeLorean. You got the Enterprise. We got the Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
We got a whole bunch of cool stuff on here.
Cool.
So I think this is going to be
Yeah,
awesome.
that
when we
sounds
get
pretty
to it.
cool. I need to make time for those this time.
They're quality docs.
Actually, honestly, for last year, there's still 4 contenders I did not get to see, and one of them was In Search of Darkness Part 2, because that just... What did you say? It was 4 hours? 3 hours?
Yeah, it's long.
It's a long one.
They're all long. I mean, I got the first 2 here,
Yeah.
and somewhere.
Okay.
Yep, go for it. Get your last one out.
Okay, so my last one is a 2022 contender. I have not yet seen it. I really want to, but Disney Movie Club has its moments. It can be good. Sometimes it can annoy the piss out of you, like when you're not paying attention and they send you something at full price and you didn't get to throw anything else on the order. And I decided to keep it because I needed it. But I would have liked to have built an order around this. But I did get the new Pixar film, Turning Red, which is one that I really, really do need to see. And I very much look forward to seeing it. And after this week, where I can turn my attention from 2021 to 2022, I think this probably will be one of the first things I try to watch.
Oh, yeah.
But it's good times. It was the first Pixar film to debut on streaming. I was kind of surprised Disney did a physical release as quickly as they did, but good on them for doing that, I guess. But I look forward to seeing this. I've heard pretty much only good things about it.
It's
So
an awesome
yeah.
film. Probably one of my favorite animated films of 2022 so far.
Nice.
Now, considering that list is very small, I mean, I've
Right.
got Hotel Transylvania 4 and Turning Red. So, yeah, I think... I really don't think that there's
Yeah, the only one,
there.
the only fully animated one I've got so far is the Bob's Burgers movie. Chippendale Rescue Rangers is a melding of live action and animation, but yeah.
So, my last one is a biggie, and that is I got another Sterling box set. He's up to it again,
Yeah.
and that is the Meat Hook Massacre Collection.
Mm.
They actually have teamed up with Wild Eye. You can see on the back. There's Dustin Ferguson's signature on the back.
Okay.
And of course, you get Sterling's signature up here.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing you'll notice is that they kind of form a fist on the spines do. They form a picture. I'm not very familiar with this, but I'm hoping to see something that will tell me that it's a good that Dustin Ferguson has some good chops as a director, and maybe this is there. I mean, shoot, he did 8 of these. There must be something good about these. But you know, you got the first one, and I love the artwork. The art design on these sets is amazing. So there's the second one.
That's one thing I'll admit is these boxes are cool looking.
Then there's the third one.
Doesn't look like a movie I'd want to see, but you know, it's cool artwork.
And if you want camp that's not horror, you could get the Ape set, because the Ape set is not horror at all. It's not really that bloody,
Right.
and it's kind of silly people with ape suits trying to make it with women, which and they usually don't have it happen. So that's the fourth one. And then of course we've got the fifth one. Again, very good covers. Then the sixth one, Bloodline. Yep. So we're moving. Then we got Bubba's Dead for the seventh one. Then we got the eighth one, Mayhem. They don't all have Yeah, I mean, I think, let's see here. Yeah, the final chapter, of course, they had to do a final chapter one. Theirs was 5. And then, of course, First Hunt was 3. But, you know, I mean, what can I say? They are fun. I mean, even like the little, little foldy part, it continues downward on there. I like a good slasher. So maybe this will be good. I will give Ferguson another chance. I mean, the Camp Blood movies he did had potential, but I really feel like they were kneecapped. So, and I can't imagine that we were going for a lot of stuff for angry Asian murder hornets. So maybe this is going to be a call to say that this is really good. Cody seems to like them, so and he's usually a pretty good judge of these. So we'll see if they're good. I usually don't, unless people actually ask me to review their films, I tend to try and only review films that I like, because I have to watch them 5 or 6 times. You know what's sad is that in my review show, so far I've only done 1 that I've actually wanted to review. The rest of them have been asked, and I'd never even heard of the films beforehand. So now it's, after I finish Horror Tale 666 Part 2, I've got Sharkula, and then finally, unless somebody else asks me, I'll have one that I wanted to, which is Games Master, What Have You Done? Which is going to be the next, which, by the way, I was also going to be reviewed or talked about on the next Schlockaholics episode. The first one of those is up already, where we talk about Axe Grinder. So that's going to be fun as well.
Cool.
So with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, share. If you didn't, you can hit the down button. I don't see what the down buttons are, but whatever. But also like, subscribe, and share if you do as well. You could dislike, subscribe, and share, and I'll be happy with that too.
And don't forget to vote for the Versus Awards. Yeah.
Yes, vote for the Versus Awards, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.